Well, this has been a very interesting day in NASCAR silly season. Hi, and welcome to another video of Being Banging. In today's video, I will be giving you my live reaction to the news of Harrison Burton going from JGR Xfinity 20 car to now driving the 21 car for the Wood Brothers next season, and the news of Austin Cindric going from the 22 Penske car to the number 2 car Cup Series ride for next year. So let's go. I'm gonna go a little bit past like before all this was going down, what news and rumors were coming out in the past few days or the past few months. So we had heard before the season that Matt DiBenedetto wasn't going to come back to the 21 car, and that the rumor was that Austin Cindric was going to take over the 21 car because Penske had done this before when they went with Ryan Blaney. He drove for the Wood Brothers 21 car his first year or two, and then uh, I think they bought a charter, and then they expanded the team from 2 cars to 3 cars, and Ryan Blaney became the 12 car for them. But now, since because of Brad Keselowski, he seemed to want to get out of Penske and go somewhere else because of what had been going on with his teammate, with Joey Logano, especially after the Daytona 500, where Joey Logano came down and blocked Brad Keselowski's big run that he got in and wrecked him and the whole entire field pretty much on the final corners of that race. So we have been, and he had been getting angry at Joey Logano long before this. He called him out in an interview a year ago or somewhat. I think it was after another plate race, but I can't be for sure about that. I don't know the exact information of what scenario actually happened. Um, but Bryce Keselowski, it seems it hasn't been official yet, but I'm sure another week or two will be official that he will be driving the 6 car and replacing Ryan Newman, and will become the first and will become an owner of that car, and will be partners with Roush Fenway Racing. So that should be very interesting. The rumors have been out on that for a while now, but this is definitely big news for him. And then let's just go back to Austin Cedric because this isn't supposed to be about Brad Keselowski. Um, Austin Cindric has been one of the best Xfinity drivers for the past, I would say, 2 years, two 2 years, I guess. Last year, I think he had, I think it was 6 or 7 victories. He was a very, we've seen him over the past like 3 or 4 years in Xfinity, elevate his skill and talent in the stock cars because he originally come from sports car racing. I think it was something like that, sports car racing, uh, IMSA or something like that. I can't. I'm probably wrong on that because I don't know very much about other series. But Austin Cindric used to just be a road course racer for their Xfinity team, and now we see him winning at all kinds of other tracks. We just saw him win at Dover a month or two ago, and then we saw him win at Pocono a few weeks ago too. He's definitely become a big prospect for that team, and it's been, they could have easily put him in a cup ride this year for Penske, but they decided not to. I think that might have been the original plan, but after Bragslowski's success last year, they decided to keep him for one more year and extend his contract. So that was definitely very interesting if we would have saw him this year. But now that Bragslowski is clearly out of Penske, we see Austin Cindric take over the 2 car, that very famous 2 car that has usually Roger Penske puts in his best driver in that car. For a long time, that was Rusty Wallace, who drove the 2 car in the 80s and 90s. And then the 2000s, it was like Kurt Busch, and a little bit of Rusty Wallace, I think. And then Bragaslowski took over the 2 car in like the early 2010s, I think. Roger likes keeping his best driver in that ride. It's like for say like Hendrick's like 24 team that Chase Elliott drives for now because they switched their number from the 24 to the 9. But let's keep on the other story. Uh, so was this the right move for Penske in this situation? I would say yes, but we still have to see the long term effects of how well Cindric does. He still has a lot of growing to do because there aren't that many Cup drivers in the Xfinity Series anymore. So he'll definitely have to learn how to drive with those guys. We did see him; he was competing for a win at Road America, even in the 33 car. He was very competitive in that ride, battling for the lead against Matt DiBenedetto in that race. So I think he can definitely be a top contender go against go against like Chase Elliott in road courses next year. Maybe we see him win one next year. I would definitely not take that as a scenario. But with Brad Keselowski, the time is coming. We've seen there have been a little bit of friction coming from both sides of the team, from teammates to the front office. Not really giving him a big extension after last year because he's always done so good for them. He had like averaged like 3 or 4 victories every year. He was Mr. Consistent. It's just kind of weird to see somebody like that leave, especially at like his age. He's still got at least another 5 years of good racing. So what I will say is, I think right now it's very unsure, but um, let's look back at this in another 2 3 years. Maybe Brad Keselowski does fall off the edge at like Roush Findlay Racing, but with Austin Cindric, I think he easily racing in the Cup Series for another I don't know, 15 20 years. He'll be a great driver for Penske. He's definitely shown off his talent. The new schedule for the Cup Series is now more favorite to him because he is such a great road course racer. Now that the Cup Series has 7 road courses on its schedule, I think we can definitely see teams going after more like road racers now, like Austin Cindric. And then he can still be competitive at mile and a half, mile tracks, super speedways, and all those other tracks too. Yeah, I just think he'll be a great driver for the team. Going through the other news of Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton, he drove for the GGR 20 car in the Xfinity Series for the past year or two in Xfinity. And he is now being bumped up to the Cup Series, but not to a Toyota team. He's being bumped up to the 21 car Wood Brothers car for uh, Penske because Penske wanted him. So he'll be another prospect put into the pipeline. Maybe we'll see Penske expand to a 4 car team in another year or two. That'd definitely be very interesting. And Harrison Burton drives a 33 car, but he definitely seems Harrison Burton has definitely showed off his talent in the past year or two. I know that this season Xfinity hasn't won a race, but still shows off the speed, still shows off the talent. So I think he can develop very good. I think Penske's picking him up at the right time. I still don't understand the sponsorship because if Harrison Burton's bringing over any sponsors for that team, or if it's just him and they're just using all the sponsors from the Wood Brothers team instead. Because this weekend we did see the offer pad made a huge push for him with him and Denny Hamlin in the front of their cars for the paint schemes. So that'll be interesting as that info comes out. But the only thing we do know is that Harrison Burton is driving for a 21 car as of right now. And I think it could work out. Harrison Burton, very young driver, just like Austin Cindric. He's been a very good driver. We can see great development from him. He's been a great mile and a half driver for them. Last year, he won in Texas in that last lap pass over Noah Gragson. That season, he also won 4 races. I can't remember the other 3 races he won it, but He's been a very good driver. He's been very solidified in that series as a championship contender, just like Austin Cindric. I think it's a good idea to put him in the Wood Brothers car because he still doesn't have the development to be in a top ride, but he can still be in the system, and we'll have to see how he does in the following years. And if Roger wants to expand the team from a 3-car team to a 4-car team, or maybe take somebody else out of there instead. But now looking at the current Cup drivers in the 21 car, Matt DiBenedetto, he's now for sure out of that ride, and we don't know where he's going. I was getting before I started recording, I was going to watch the video that he posted on Facebook, but I just decided not to watch it because from what I heard, from what reporters were saying, is that he thought that he was kicked out too soon, that the team was starting to mesh together, and that we were starting to see the team do better. He just had a good finish at Atlanta this past weekend. I think he came in the top 10 or around the top 10, top 15. But he's still out of the playoffs by a lot of points. I think like 100 plus points. I think 120, but I don't trust me on that. I know the cutoff line is around like 96 minus 96 points because of the win that Kurt Busch had because he was the last driver in the playoffs. So that really blew up the cut line. But with Matt DiBenedetto, we all want him to do good. I remember seeing that Bristol night race and what happened to him. It was just terrible. He didn't win that race, but he still got a good ride in the end of it. He got the race for the Wood Brothers, and I don't know what's been going on over there. I mean, I know that he made the playoffs last year. He's been doing very. He hasn't been well. Last season he did good. He was very consistent, made it to the playoffs. But this season he's been kind of all over the place. We all thought he was going to be more competitive this year, but we've also seen that Ford has fallen off a little bit this year because of the Gen 6 car, and that we've seen Chevy gain a competitive advantage over both Toyota and Ford, but Toyota still has better speed than Ford at this point. So it's just disappointing. Uh, we almost saw Matt DiBenedetto win at Talladega a few months ago. I wish he would have won that race. That would have been awesome. But maybe we can. He's still got a shot to get into a good ride next year. There's still other spots open. We don't know what's going on with 20 through 11 yet. I think that Matt DiBenedetto would be a great driver to bring in for that team if 20 through 11 can't bring in Kurt Busch. He's a great veteran driver to teach Bubba Wallace all the stuff he needs to know about driving the Cup Series. He's been through a big journey and has been with multiple teams and knows how everything works. He'd be a great driver to bring in for that team. We can definitely see great development from him. He's driven Toyota before. He almost won in Toyota back in 2019. Matt DiBenedetto and Danny Hamlin have a pretty close relationship. So I would say that he has a good shot in that ride. Maybe Stuart Haas might have an open ride. We haven't. I don't know if Eric Almirola. Oh wait, I think he is. I think Eric Almirola is signed through the next 2 years. I think. Don't bet on that. I'm probably wrong, but he could. Maybe if Kevin Harvick retires, they may need a driver for that Ford car for another year or two because Ford doesn't have a driver in development ready yet for that ride. So we can see Matt DiBenedetto maybe racing the Ford car next year, which would be awesome. That would definitely be a step up from the 21 car, but that's still a what if right now. There have been rumors about Harvick retiring, but he's still got another 2 years on his contract, so I don't know where those rumors are coming from. Probably just something from Reddit. So I think the The best chance Matt DiBenedetto has of staying in the Cup Series is that Dane Hamlin picks him up and puts him in the second ride for 23-11. And I think the Matt DiBenedetto has showed us in the past 3 years that he is a Cup driver and that he needs a Cup ride. He's been up there in races. He should have won at Bristol a few years ago. He should have probably won Talladega this year. He wasn't. I don't think he was competitive enough to win any races last year. Maybe Las Vegas or Atlanta. I think he was doing good in one of those races last year and could have won. He hasn't had the dominant car in many races, so definitely very interesting to see where his journey goes after this season. Maybe he can get a ride at a front row car. I don't know, take over the 38 car over Anthony Alfredo. I don't know where else he can go except down to Xfinity and drive through one of the JGR cars, maybe. But it's still all up in the air for him. So I hope Matt the Ben. I wish the best for him. He's been one of my favorite drivers. I think we all like him. He's so honest and he's so truthful and such a nice guy that you just wish that he keeps racing. He's one of the fans. He's one of the favorites to the fans. Like we all we all like him. We all want him to do his best. So keep him in. Somebody find him a ride. I'm sure he'll make something happen in his discussions. But I think with that, I'm gonna end the video. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Hopefully, it's kind of short in the 10 to 15-minute range. But if you like this kind of video where I do like live reactions to news that just came out, please comment that down below. Like the video. If you in the next day or two, I'm hoping to finish up editing a video where I'm going to be talking about what's been going on between the drivers and NASCAR executives. I think that'll probably be my regular Sunday video because I'm thinking about keeping a schedule where I release videos on Sundays. That's usually the easiest for me. Maybe I'll push it. Maybe I'll post it tomorrow or Saturday, depending on my schedule. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe for more content if you haven't already. I hope that the racing at New Hampshire is entertaining. The race is usually kind of 50-50 at this point. It's not really one of my favorite tracks, but I'll still watch it. It's still a good track and pretty entertaining to watch. But with that, I'm gonna end the video. Make sure you have a good day, everyone, and make sure to stay classy.